Now let's go to the server and check our code, whether we have our code or not. I will go to the server. So here I need to go inside that DAG folder, right? So you should be always be keeping your Python code inside this DAX folder. Then only the Airflow server will pick this code and it will display that as a job. So I have my job ready. So this is basically the Python code. So this will represent the DAG in the Airflow. So we just I showed you the code, right? So this is the code, and this code we made the necessary changes. We have actually placed this Python file in my local machine, and that is actually mapped in this server in this path. I have my Airflow server up and running. So once you keep that .py file, I can see my first job coming here. So for the first time when you see this job, you will not be having this enable. So it will look something like this. So what you have to do is you have to first come and activate this job. In order to activate this job, you just have to click on this button. The job will get activated. As I showed you in the Python code, the owner of this job is Snow Admin. We have showed this here, right? So owner of the file is job is Snow Admin. So the default arguments will actually define who is that owner and what should be done when some job fails, and some other properties on say like the retry one here. If the job fail, it will ask the Airflow to retry one more time. So these kind of properties can be set in the default org, and those settings are getting reflected in this Airflow job also. So let's click on this job. So once you click on this job, you can see here the graph view. You will be getting different views for this job. Basically the Airflow, the tree view, and there is a graph view also. I will not go into details of all these things. You will come to know when you start using the Airflow. The main intention is not to give more details about Airflow, but to use Airflow to run the Tyrant jobs and to achieve the load to the Snowflake. So in the graph view, we can see we have created this task, right? I have also named this task by name load file to Snowflake. If you come down here in the bash operator, load file to Snowflake. So this is my task, and that task name you are seeing in this task here in this Airflow. And you can see the bash operator. So this is a bash operator. It is saying a bash operator. So what you have defined in this Python code, that is being reflected in this job. So we have our bash job ready, Airflow job ready. Now the next thing is we have to run this job and see if the data is getting loaded to Snowflake or not. So before we trigger this job, let's go to Snowflake and check what we have for this table, employee table. We are trying to load data to the employee table, right? So I don't have any records in this employee table. Here it is showing as 0 records. Now let's come to the Airflow and let's trigger the job. So in order to trigger the job, what you can do is you can click on this button, play button. So this will trigger the job. Click on trigger. So now my job actually started running. So Airflow really gives a very nice user interface. You can see this job is running. If you hover on this job, it will show you the start time of the job and the end time of the job. All the information can be seen here. You can see from the top right, it started. It is showing the time it started, and it already 29 seconds passed. So this information you can see, and also you can see the historical run details. Alright, I have already ran this job for 4 times. You can see the historical detail of the execution also. So it gives a very nice user interface. So now my job is running. I can also go to the graph view. Here you can see this band, right? So it is in the light green color, so it is in the running state. It represents the running state. In the same way, the red one the failure, and if it is yellow, it is kind of up for retry. So something failed and it is trying for one more time. Still it is in the running state. And also you can see, if you go to the DAGs here, at a very high level also you can see the status of the jobs. You can see the recent task. So now I think it got succeeded. So the execution got succeeded. Yeah, the execution got succeeded here. And if it fails, it will show the number of times it failed, right? You can see the number is 1 here, and also it will show you how many times it got failed. So these details it will show at this DAX window. Very nice kind of interface. And you can see in the schedule part here, it is none, because I have not scheduled it to run at any specific time. So that's why it is none here. So this none I have already set that while creating the tag, right? In this Python code, if you can see here, I have defined this tag. So by giving this properties here, job name, default arguments, and just schedule interval, I made it as none. Basically I can schedule it to run at a particular time. We'll see that as we proceed with the coming lectures. So now my job is succeeded. It completed running. Yeah, let's go to the Snowflake and run this. Yeah, so I can see all my 5 records here. So it successfully completed running. So before we close, a few more things which I need to tell you. So if something, say like if something goes wrong and if the job fails, you can see the logs. If you click on this one, you can see the log here. Click on this, it will take you to the log page. It will give the detailed log, right? It is giving you the detailed log of what actually happened. We can actually make this job fail, right? So what we'll do is we'll come here and we'll just change the file name. This file doesn't exist. So what I will do is I made the change in my local system for this code, and if I want to make sure if it is reflecting the server or not, I can click on one more tab is here. You are able to see this. So this is a code one. So if you click on this code one, you can actually see the code what we have mentioned in the Python code. You can see here I just made one change, right? So 0 to 2 I did. So I changed the name of the employee file. So now I am able to see this code reflecting in the server. Sometimes it will not reflect very soon. So in that case you have to refresh by clicking on this one. So if you click on this one, it will refresh the code in the server, which is basically the Python code. Just click on this refresh code. You can see this message that this job is now refreshed and I see. Now let's go to this list of DAG runs. You can see all the DAG runs here. That it gives a very rich user interface. So I changed the name of the file to a wrong file name. Now let's try to trigger the job one for one more time. I triggered the job. Let's wait for it to fail. Now the job got failed. I believe by this time you should be having a basic understanding about Airflow user interface. And also we successfully loaded the data of using Airflow to the Snowflake database. So with this I will close this lecture. See you in the next lectures. Thank you.